Hey, horror fans, once again, it is me, the Horror Mizumani G, trying to review the latest horror movie that's spoofing It's a Wonderful Life. It is A Wonderful Knife. And this one, when you hear the angel bells ring, that means another person is dead. Ooh.
Y'all ready for this?
Hey, horror fans, once again, it is me, the Horror Mizumani G. Now, It's a Wonderful Knife is a 2023 American slasher comedy film that was directed by Tyler McIntyre and written by Michael Kennedy. Now, the film stars James Widop, Jess McLeod, Joe McHale, Catherine Isabel, William B. Davis, and Justin Long. Now, in this film, after saving her town from a psychotic killer, Winnie Cathera's life is less than wonderful. When she wishes she's never been born, she finds herself in a nightmare parallel universe where things are much, much worse. See, you got to be careful what you wish for, guys. You know, when it comes to Christmas horror, or when it comes to Christmas movies, I mean, we got a lot of classic Christmas movies that have been out there. Whether it's A Christmas Carol, you can either pick the George C. Scott version or the one starring Patrick Stewart, and you can even pick Scrooge that star Bill Murray. But perhaps the best one that was ever made is the 1946 film called It's a Wonderful Life. Now, it tells the story of a man named George Bailey who sees what the world would be like if he didn't exist it by his guardian angel Clarence Oddbody when George is thinking about killing himself on Christmas Eve. You know, it's a nice Christmas movie, tells the moral about, hey, look, all the good deeds you've done. Look what happens when you don't exist. And he shows all that, and it's all nice. And, you know, at the end of the picture, we hear all the bells ring, and his daughter tells, you know, when a bell rings, angel gets his wings because that was based the plot of the story. His guardian angel, in order to earn his wings, he had to save this guy. And that's what that movie's about. It's a very lovely and happy Christmas movie. Now, just imagine if you take this premise and use it as a basis of a slasher film. Yeah, that's what American film director Tyler McIntyre, who gave us Tragedy Girls, I think back in 2019, gives us with his latest project, the slasher horror film called It's a Wonderful Knife. Now, taking place in an idyllic fictional town called Angel Falls, we're introduced to Winnie Carruthers, who saves the town after stopping a killer dressed as a Christmas angel who killed her best friend. He killed the other couple people too, but after when she attacks her brother and then her after killing her best friend and her boyfriend, he's about to kill her brother when she actually kills him. Now, a year later, while still grieving, Winnie is upset that everyone else has kind of moved on from the previous year. You know, her family totally ignores her and pays more attention to her brother. He finds out that her boyfriend is cheating on one of her best friends, and you know, it's just like every time it's like, hey, look, let's move on. But when he can't stand it, it's like everyone has moved on, and everyone has completely forgotten about her. So after making the wish that she was never born, she finds herself in an alternate version of Angel Falls, where no one knows who she is, and the killer is still alive and is killing people nonstop. Oh boy, not good. You know, I always love it when horror filmmakers make horror films based on other subgenre, and this is a good idea using a premise on a beloved holiday classic like It's a Wonderful Life. You know, that's very good because we always like to see a twisted version or a darker version of certain movies. Like in video games, we have a darker version of Alice in Wonderland. You know, we had that video game, and we get darker versions, like say, of the Banana Splits. Like one of the most recent things that we're seeing right now is that we're seeing horror versions of fairy tale classics. Like earlier this year, we have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, Three Blind Mice. There's a horror film called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So that seems to be what we're seeing right now as we see filmmakers take nice classic holiday films or fairy tales and twist it into a horror movie. No, I like what Taylor does. He does a good job of setting up the premise using a small and lovable town like Angel Falls and a nice and lovely family like we see in the Carruthers. Everyone is happy. They seem to love each other. The town is bright, it's colorful. It's something that you would expect to see in a nice town, just like we saw in The Wonderful Life. We see that in this particular film. Before Winnie is transported into the other Angel Falls, this particular version, it's bright, it's colorful, everyone is happy, everyone gets along. The other version of Angel Falls, unfortunately, is a vast difference. It's dark, it's dreary, it's unhappy, it's dull. Everyone is either sad or angry, or they're drowning their sorrows in drugs and alcohol, and no one, I mean, particularly no one, is happy. Now, we do get some emotional moments in the film, especially when Wendy discovers the fate of her brother in this alternate version of Angel Falls. And that leads to some interesting and emotional moments between her and her father in this other version of Angel Falls. Now, the acting is fine as Jane Wood up, and she's fine as Winnie. She gives Winnie the determination about finding out who the killer is in this particular version of Angel Falls. Like I said before, she has an interesting dynamic between her between this particular family and and her other family, how they treated her in the real version. I still like the relationship that she has with her aunt Gail Prescott in this particular version, but she does a pretty good job. I really liked her performance. She's kind of the driving force of the film, so she's okay. Now, she and Jess McLeod, who plays the outcast girl Bernie, who they call Weirdo, they have some good chemistry together as they try to figure out how to get Winnie back into the real world, and also trying to figure out who's killing all the people in this particular town, in this particular dark version of Angel Falls. Now you can tell that Justin Long is having fun with his performance as Henry Waters, the real estate developer who wants to turn Angel Falls into this huge shopping center under his control. He's basically the twirling mustache villain that we normally see in pictures like this, and he hams it up every time when he is on the screen. Catherine Isabel, one of everyone's favorite screen queens. She's great as Winnie's Aunt Gail Prescott. I wonder who they're trying to imitate. As a no nonsense, speaks her mind woman who seems to be the only one who understands what Winnie is going through. They have great chemistry together. And of course, Catherine Isabel is great in this particular role, too. No, well, like I said, I like the premise. I like the idea what Tyler and his filmmakers have done, and I do like the mask and costume of the Angel Killer. However, the kills are a bit lackluster, despite the brutality the killer displays sometimes. I mean, even the motivation of the killer that's revealed in both realities, it's kind of predictable, and it really shouldn't surprise anyone whether we when we find out who the killer is in the real world of Angel Falls and what the killer is, who the killer is, and the alternative version of Angel Falls. There's nothing really surprising. Kind of, it's like you would expect they want to try to do something different, but they don't do that here. Another problem I have with the film is I don't know what the budget is for this film, but it certainly was not spent on practical effects, as most of the blood effects are CGI, and most of it looks terrible. And it's like, this is what you did? Come on, guys. Practical effects. What about using practical effects? I mean, there's some, but it's just terrible CGI blood. Now, well, the film looks good, and like I said before, we do get some good acting from Jane and Justin, but the story is kind of rather bland, and I really didn't find anything funny. There's kind of some funny moments in the film, but I really didn't see anything funny. All the other characters in the film are uninteresting, and the kills are rather dull and lackluster. It's like, okay, that's nice, but when are we going to get some excitement in the film? When am I going to laugh? Really, nothing funny in this particular film, and this is supposed to be a slasher comedy. I think there is one interesting part that happens at the end of the film that will definitely give you vibes of It's a Wonderful Life. I thought they were trying to be funny with that particular role, but I didn't find it funny. I mean, it's not a bad horror film. I've seen worse films than this one right here, and I do give Tyler and the filmmakers credit for trying to use this premise from a classic holiday film, but it misses the mark, which could have been a very decent horror film. It's just like I said before, you got bad CGI effects, lackluster characters, bad motivation. The motivation is very simple and predictable. And like I said, other than Jane and Justin, and I guess Jess, all the rest of the characters are just like, okay, that's nice. So, like I said, not a bad horror film, but it's okay. So I'm going to give It's a Wonderful Knife only 2 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. And like I said, it's not as bad as some people are saying. I read some of the reviews on IMDb. They really were trashing this particular film. Like I said, I've seen worse horror films this year, and you'll probably find out when I do my top 10 best and top 5 worst horror films later on this month. This will not be one of them. It's just an okay horror film. Like I said, it had some potential, but it just misses the mark. So there you have it, guys. That is my review and video for It's a Wonderful Knife. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, like, and share because it does really help out with this YouTube algorithm. All right, now this is playing on Shutter. So have you seen It's a Wonderful Knife? Please leave your comments in the comment section below and tell me your thought about the film. Also, if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Money G, and always remember that horror rules. Ha ha ha! And I see my next video. That guys stay safe out there.